I'm back with the third video of the video series on Class 8 Science Crop Production and Management. In this video, our agenda is to learn about why do we think crop yield improvement is necessary. We'll also learn about manures as well as nutrients management. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started.
The manure is primarily used to improve the crop yield. When we want to increase the crop production, there comes the need of manure. It is not that without manure you will not be able to produce crops. You'll be able to produce crops, but if you want to enhance the crop production, then manure is required. Now the question is, why do we need to improve the crop yields? It's okay, even if a decent productivity is coming out, that is also okay. But why do we want to improve the yield? That's because the population is constantly increasing. Now, as the population is increasing, the needs of the growing population is also increasing because none of the person can survive without food. So, when the population increases so drastically, their need for food also increases drastically. So, to meet the food requirements of this ever-increasing population, we also need to improve the crop yield. And how do we improve the crop yield? By following some of the techniques. And one of those techniques is application of manures. Problem is that the population is increasing, but the land area remains the same. For example, if you talk about India, so the land which is present within India, that is still the same. It is just the population which is increasing. So the demand is increasing, but there is no scope of increasing the area. So all we can do is we can have to follow some techniques which can increase the crop yield within the same area. So maybe the same area was giving some X tons of wheat, but now the same area should give some 2x tons of wheat. So that is what we have to aim for, and for that purpose manures turned out to be extremely helpful. So now, in order to meet the needs of the growing population, the crop productivity has to increase. Now for crop productivity, we need to provide all that a plant needs. Now plant needs primarily nutrients. So we have to manage the nutrient supply to the plants really well so that the plant is able to get all that is needed for a proper growth of the plant. So in nutrient management, what we do is all that substance. Now before that, what basically is a nutrient? It is a substance that provides nourishment to the plant. For example, for us human beings, we eat food, right? Now, what does the food consist of? The food consists of various nutrients like proteins, vitamins, carbohydrates in appropriate amount, which provides nourishment to our body. So it provides energy to our body to undergo the various processes which taking place inside our body. So in a very similar way, plants also need nutrients. It also needs nourishment. And what are those substances which produce nourishment, which provide nourishment to the plant? Some of the nutrients are carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, sulfur, iron, manganese, boron, zinc, copper, molybdenum and chlorine. So in total, plants need 16 nutrients. Now the nutrients which are needed in huge amount or in more amount, they are called macronutrients. Which are needed in larger amounts, they are called macronutrients, whereas those which are needed in smaller amounts, they are called micronutrients. Now macro means what? Macro, the word macro means big. So nutrients which are needed in bigger amounts, in more amounts. Micro means small. So those nutrients which are needed only in small amounts, they are called micronutrients. Now some examples of micronutrients would be molybdenum or copper or zinc. So they are needed in small amount. If you talk about macronutrients, it could be nitrogen, phosphorus. So they are needed in huge amounts. So they are examples of macronutrients. So these are basically the nutrients which are needed by the plants. Now we need to ensure that the plant gets appropriate nutrients, because if it doesn't get so, then the plant will not be able to grow properly, and if the plant doesn't grow properly, it is quite obvious that the productivity will not be that great. Because what do we mean by productivity? For example, if we again take the same example of a tomato plant. So what are we interested in? We are not interested in the leaves of the tomato plant. We are interested in the fruit of the tomato plant, because fruit is the one which we eat. So we want more number of fruits. So if the tomato plant is able to give more number of tomatoes, that is more number of fruits, then our mission is accomplished. So we got good crop productivity. So now the plant will be able to give more fruits only when the plant is healthy enough, the plant has sufficient energy to undergo the process of reproduction, to undergo the other processes of photosynthesis, respiration, etc. And then only it will be able to give better productivity. So we need to ensure that appropriate nutrients are made available to the plants. So what do we do here? How do we manage nutrient management? So why is nutrient management needed? Now, deficiency of nutrients can have adverse effects on the plant. So what can happen due to deficiency of nutrients? Primarily reduced growth, because for growth plants need nutrients. So it is very simple, like if we do not get proper food, we will not be able to grow properly in our growing age. For example, for small kids, it is always advised to give them proper food, to give them good amount of milk so that they are able to grow properly. So if they are deficient in the nutrients, they will have reduced growth. So for plants also the same thing. Adverse effect on reproduction. Now, if enough nutrient is not there, enough energy will not be there to undergo the process of reproduction. Now, in plants, if reproduction does not take place, what will happen? Fruits will not be produced, seeds will not be produced. So, this will impact the crop productivity. More prone to diseases, because when you are not eating healthy, what happens? Your body is weak, and when your body is weak, you are more prone to get infections. You are more prone to get attacked by disease causing organisms. So the same thing happens with plants. So when they do not get proper nutrients, their body is not healthy enough to remain strong. So very easily they get infections. And also when we talk about agriculture, or when we talk about cultivation of crops, what happens is a farmer has a big stretch of land where he cultivates crops. So now if he keeps growing crops one after another, so growing crops one after another make the soil poorer in some nutrients, because all the nutrients get continuously used up by the crops, and immediately the crops give some productivity, some new crops have been planted. So if continuously crops are being planted on the same field, so what happens is the soil sometimes become poorer in some nutrients. So some compensation need to be done. That means some nutrients is needed to be provided from outside. So externally you can pump in some nutrients into the soil so that the soil once again becomes rich in nutrients. So something of that sort is done with the help of manure. That is, we additionally put some nutrients into the soil. So that is manure. So let us see how exactly do we do that. So how is nutrient management done? So we enrich the soil with nutrients in the form of manure and fertilizers. So these are the two things which enrich the soil with additional nutrients. Now, how are nutrients present in the soil? So there are so many natural biogeochemical cycles, or there are so many natural cycles taking place in the atmosphere. For example, there is nitrogen cycle, there is phosphorus cycle, sulfur cycle. So many cycles keep taking place inside the earth. Now, as a result of this, naturally also the nutrients exist within the soil. But when we feel that the amount of nutrients which exist naturally, that is not enough for the amount of crops which we have planted on that soil, then what we have to do is we have to put some additional nutrients into that soil. And how will we put that additional nutrients? We put it in the form of manure and fertilizers. So manure and fertilizers contain those nutrients which are extremely important for growth and development of plants. So now let us see what is a manure. I mean, how exactly is manure prepared? What is it that it is so very rich in nutrients? So manure is an organic substance that increases soil fertility. Organic substance, any substance which contains carbon. So carbon containing substance is called organic substance. So it increases the soil fertility. So what exactly it is made up of? So let us quickly see how is manure prepared. So it is prepared by decomposition of animal excreta and plant wastes. This is extremely important. Now all the waste of animals and plants, for example, dead plants and animals, or decaying remains of plants and animals. So all these waste materials which comes out of plant and animals, they are all decomposed. Decomposed means When bacteria and fungi acts on those dead and decaying matter, they break them down into simple inorganic substances, and these inorganic substances act as important nutrients to the plant. So basically, if you take a lot of waste materials, maybe cow dung or plant wastes or animal waste, you take them all together and you leave them in a container and allow them to get decomposed. That means allow them to get rotten. So how do these things get rotten? By the action of microorganisms like bacteria and fungi. So when these microorganisms will act on these wastes, so organisms like bacteria or fungi, so they will tend to break down the organic substance into inorganic substances which are useful to the plants, and that is how these nutrients will be formed in the soil, and therefore the soil quality will become better or the soil fertility will increase. What is a manure made up of? So what are the constituents of manure? It consists of organic matter plus nutrients. Organic matter because the dead remains of plants and animals. What are they? Plants and animals are made up of organic matter. So their dead or decaying remains are made up of organic matter. Plus, since these organisms are acting on them, so they will tend to convert a part of them into inorganic nutrients. So these nutrients like phosphorus or nitrogen or sulfur, so all these nutrients. So nutrients plus organic matter form the manure. And what is the function of manure? Its function is to improve the soil structure. What exactly it does to change the soil structure? It increases the water holding capacity of the soil. That means the soil can now hold more water. It can retain more water. Now, if the soil can retain more water, it is good for the plant because the plant will absorb water through their root hairs from the soil. So, if soil has more water, so the plant will be able to get more water. It also helps in drainage, so it doesn't allow water to log near the plants because sometimes plants die due to water logging. So it avoids water logging, but at the same time it retains the water holding capacity of the soil. So here in this picture you can actually see that rotten leaves and rotten animal products and excreta, they have all been put together in a vessel and they have been allowed to they have been mixed very well together and then they have been allowed to get decomposed by bacteria and fungi. So as they start decomposing, a foul smell starts coming out, and this foul smell indicates that decomposition is taking place. So this mixture, which has a very bad smell, but it is actually very rich in organic matter as well as nutrients. So if you put them into the soil, it increases the quality of the soil and also the fertility. So let us now look at the various types of manures which are being prepared. So the first one is compost and vermicompost. So let's see what is this. So animal and vegetable wastes are decomposed in pits to form compost and vermicompost. So what do? Wastes from animals like dead animals or dead plants or rotten plant parts. So all these things are decomposed in pits. So a depression is created into the soil and there all these plant and animal wastes are being put there and left for decomposition. So over a period of time it forms compost and vermicompost. So here you can see this is how it looks like when it is properly mixed together, all the wastes together. So the smell is not going to be really good, but then the content or the way it is rich in organic matter and nutrients, that is going to be extremely beneficial to the plants. So it is rich in organic matter and nutrients, and that is why it helps in better growth of the plants. So the decomposition is done using earthworms, and that is why organisms like earthworms are called farmer's friend, because they help in the decomposition process. So earthworms along with the decomposers like bacteria and fungi, they all help in the decomposition. So in decomposition, what do? They break down the complex organic matter, because animal and vegetable wastes, these are nothing but complex organic matter. So these decomposers, they break down complex organic matter into simple inorganic substances, and these simple inorganic substances act as nutrients for the plants. So the presence of organic matter as well as inorganic nutrients increases the quality of the soil. So here you can see this is how earthworms, when present in the soil, they increase the quality of the soil. So not only this, that earthworms help in the process of decomposition. Earthworm helps to break down the complex matter into simpler pieces. At the same time, the castings of earthworms, they are also very rich in nutrients. So those castings also provides additional nutrients to the soil. So earthworms perform double role. One is they help in the process of decomposition. Secondly, they also add some additional nutrients to the soil. The next type of manure is a green manure. These are obtained from the green plants. So green plants uprooted and stuffed under the soil. So sometimes some plants are like uprooted from the soil and then they are put under the soil. So the green plants also contain a lot of organic matter and nutrients. So such plants are grown for a specific period of time. So they provide nitrogen and phosphorus to the soil, and both nitrogen and phosphorus, they are macronutrients for the plants. That means plants need them in larger amounts. So since these type of manure is obtained from green plants, that is why they are called green manure. Now examples of green manures are sun hemp or guar. These are examples of green manure. So you can see these plants, they are grown for some time and after that they are uprooted and then they are put under the soil. So they again over a period of time will provide nitrogen and phosphorus to the soil. So the soil will become rich in nitrogen and phosphorus. So now on that soil, whichever new plant is grown, they will be able to grow very nicely. Now let us look at some of the advantages of using manure. So by now we got to understand that manure is a substance which is prepared using dead and decaying remains of plants and animals. But this manure at the same time is very rich in nutrients as well as organic matter. So advantages are that it improves the soil texture because it provides so many additional nutrients to the soil. So the soil quality increases. Restore soil with all the nutrients. For example, sometimes the nutrients which were present in the soil, they get all used up by so many crops which are being planted on that field. But the usage of this manure provides this nutrients back into the soil. So it is like from externally we can put these nutrients and compensate the loss of nutrients from the soil. So the next advantage is increases the water retaining capacity of the soil. As I mentioned before, that it increases the water holding capacity of the soil. So the soil is able to hold more water, and if the soil has more water, the plant is able to get more water for better growth and development. It is non-toxic. That is again a very important advantage. That on one side, usage of manure is giving us so many advantages, that it increases the soil fertility, it increases the crop productivity. At the same time, it is not causing any harm to the environment because it is non-poisonous. It is eco-friendly. When I say eco-friendly, that means it is environment friendly. How is it environment friendly? Now, first of all, it is prepared from waste substances. So if you see, it is prepared from plant and animal wastes. So it is a good utilization of waste products, and it is not causing any sort of pollution. So that means we can say that it is environmental friendly. And you know what? This is very, very important these days. That's because everywhere we see a lot of pollution of water, air, soil, which is going to harm all the living organisms in an adverse way. So if we are able to utilize something which is advantageous to us, at the same time is environment friendly, so that is just awesome. So manure is something which has more advantages, and if you look at it, not much disadvantages. It is a recycled biological product. Recycled means it has been recycled from some other product. So basically the wastes of plant and animals. So when plants or animals die, what will happen to their waste? So what will happen to their dead and decaying matter coming out of plants or animals? So if nothing but useful comes out of it, it will just keep on dumping on earth. So basically that gets recycled to form something as useful as manure. So now that we have discussed about manure, it's time to talk about fertilizers. So we already got an introduction to fertilizers. So fertilizers are also like manures, which are going to enrich the soil with a lot of nutrients. So what are fertilizers? These are commercially produced plant nutrients. Now the only difference is that manures, they are produced in fields from waste plant and animal products, whereas fertilizers are produced in factories on a commercial scale, and they basically contain chemicals, so they are not produced from plant and animal wastes. So they result in higher yield and healthy plants because these fertilizers are very rich in plant nutrients. So if you compare manures and fertilizers, you will find that fertilizers are more rich in plant nutrients. So if you have a particular field where you have given manure, and if you have another field where you have given fertilizer, so you will see that the yield or the productivity in the second field is more because fertilizers are more rich in plant nutrients. So that means nutrient wise fertilizers are better source than manure, but there are quite a few disadvantages also associated with the fertilizers. So here in this picture, you can actually look at the two sections of the field, section 1 and section 2. So what do you see? Section 1 is all barren, you do not have greenery at all. Whereas section 2, you have a lot of green plants coming up. So this is the first half is the one which is starved by lack of plant food. That is, no fertilizer has been applied here. So if no fertilizer is applied, in that case, this is how it looks like. This is how the plant growth is here. But in this case, it is nourished on phosphate and lime. So these are nothing but fertilizers. So when you apply fertilizers, they directly provide plant nutrients to the soil. So the productivity is better. Plants grow in a better way. We get healthy plants, we get higher yields. So that is why we have fertilizers. Now some of the advantages of fertilizers are it provides nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium to the soil, and that too in high content. So a large amount of nutrients are provided to the soil. It results in higher yields if given in proper dose. Now this is very important when we deal with fertilizers. Now the dose needs to be taken care of. Proper dose will give higher yield. So all advantages in proper dose. But as soon as you start applying fertilizers in excess, it is not going to be useful to you. That's because in that case, it can have many adverse effects. So we will talk about its disadvantages in the next slide. So looking at the advantages, you might feel very happy that wow, fertilizer turns out to be even better than manures. But when you look at the disadvantages, you get to know that overall it is better to use manures. Because there are so many things like fertilizers can cause water pollution if followed by excessive irrigation. What is irrigation? Irrigation is nothing but applying water to the fields. That is called irrigation. Now let us suppose you applied fertilizers, because fertilizers are commercially produced. Basically they are nothing but chemicals which are rich in the plant nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, etc. So what happens is you applied fertilizers to the field or to the plants. Immediately after that, if you water the plants or if you water the field, or let us suppose you applied fertilizers and immediately after that there is a heavy rainfall. So what happens? The water washes away the fertilizer along with it. And where will the water go? So the water go and dispose of in the nearby water body, maybe the nearby pond or the nearby river. So as a result, all these chemicals, they actually reach the nearby water body, they reach the river or the pond, and these chemicals which are present in the fertilizer, they are all harmful chemicals. Like in case of manure, it was all non-toxic because it was all made up of organic matter, plant and animal waste, so it was non-toxic. But in this case, they are toxic, they contain toxic chemicals. So if they reach a water body, they can pollute the entire water of that pond or river. So that means it can cause water pollution. Excessive use can spoil soil fertility. Now that's why in the previous slide I told you that fertilizers are are useful as long as it is applied in proper dose. So if it is given in more amount, in that case what happens, instead of improving the soil fertility, it tends to spoil the soil fertility. How? That's because it contains, as I said, it is not that it is non-toxic, it is toxic. It contains many toxic chemicals as well. So when too much of toxic chemicals get into the soil, inside the soil also we have an entire ecosystem, or we have a lot of different organisms present inside the soil. For example, there are so many microorganisms, earthworms, so many other organisms are there. So if too much of poisonous chemicals are present within the soil, it can harm those microorganisms. And we know that these microorganisms help a lot in the process of decomposition. And that is how these organisms act as farmers' friends by improving the quality of the soil. So if these organisms are harmed, so in a way, basically the soil fertility is harmed. So if fertilizers are followed by irrigation or rainfall, it can cause water pollution. If it is used in excessive amount, it can spoil the soil fertility. So that means these advantages associated with fertilizers were not there in case of manures. So manures had only advantages. But if you compare manures and fertilizers, in case of fertilizers, they provide more nutrients when compared to manures. So now you will understand that, okay, so that's bad because fertilizers have these advantages as well. So overall, if we look at it, even though manure will give a little lesser productivity than fertilizer, but at least it is not going to harm our environment. So that means we can make a judicious use of manure or fertilizers as and when needed. So that is why these days we often follow a new type of farming called organic farming. So what is organic farming? It is a farming with no or minimum use of chemicals, because it has been observed that chemicals are actually harming a lot. Now, it is not only water pollution or soil pollution which is caused by the chemicals. Now, sometimes it also happens that applying too many chemicals for the plant growth often leads to the presence of some toxic substance even inside the fruit or the vegetable which we eat. Now, when we eat that fruit or vegetable, it enters even inside our body. So that means the advantages of that fruit or vegetable also reduces due to the presence of chemicals. Therefore, farming is practiced with minimum use of chemicals, and this type of farming is called organic farming. Here, maximum use of manure. So manures are used to the maximum extent because they do not have any adverse effects to the environment. Healthy cropping patterns. It is ensured that crops are being planted in a proper way. For example, a particular stretch of land should not be growing crops over and again, because if too much of crop cultivation takes place in the same land continuously, in that case sometimes the soil becomes deprived of nutrients because all the nutrients gets completely used up by the crops. So healthy cropping pattern should be utilized. For example, first you crop something which utilize more nitrogen. Maybe next time you can crop some other plant which utilize less nitrogen but more phosphorus. So that means healthy cropping pattern should be adopted. Now we will discuss more in detail about healthy cropping patterns in our higher classes. So for now you should just know that okay, there is this concept of organic farming where we use minimum chemicals. In fact, sometimes we do not try to use any chemicals at all for organic farming. So in this case, whatever fruits or vegetables come out of this farming, that is like free of insecticides or pesticides or any sort of chemicals.
I hope you found the video useful. If you have any feedback or suggestions, please do let us know in the comment section. In the next video, we are going to learn about the irrigation methods. So be with us.